Hello, my name is Jeffrey Andrews. I'm from UALR. I'm doing this for my Intro to Sociology class, and I'm doing this for spring of 2019. So originally, whenever I'm going through this slide, I'm going to be talking about where I ended up going for my service learning, what I ended up doing, sociological theory, a concept, what I learned, making a difference, and any suggestions that I ended up having. So our house is actually located at East Roosevelt Road at Little Rock, and I conducted my service learning over in February, spring of 2019. The reason that I chose our house wasn't necessarily because it was a homeless shelter and I wanted to help the homeless population. Part of the reason I did choose our house was because I'm a social work major and I wanted to choose a place that I knew had social workers on staff. And kind of have a feel for what it would be like, in a sense, to be a social worker for a day. In our house, they have a mission statement. In summary, it is to empower and help the homeless population. At our house, I actually ended up doing 3 days of my service learning for 7 hours each day, so in a total of 21 hours. My supervisor was Miss Rhonda and Mr. Piercy. And I worked in the career center at our house instead of the main shelter. At the career center, they have different opportunities. They have a resume building center. They have classes for GED, financial planning classes, parenting classes, anything, all these for free. They also had a bunch of social workers on staff for any of the clients that needed any special help, reentry social workers or recovering documents for people that were homeless. But my role was in the resume building center, and I helped navigate and connect people to resources and just being overall a friendly face for anyone that came in off the streets or anyone that was returning and didn't know what to do or where to go. So I felt good about what I did, and I really wish that I could have done a lot more to be more productive and more one-on-one direct with the clients and helping them through any problems that they really had. So a couple of sociological theories that I ended up taking with me that I thought were really interesting was the social psychological theory, the structural theory, and Michael Olmes and Howard Winant's theory of racial formation. Social psychological was mainly about how racism, prejudice, discrimination, all this is taught to us. It's not innate in our nature. It's more of a nurture type of thing. Structural theory, I took that with me as well, and that was about how racism, discrimination, stereotyping, this is all put in our political and economic system, and it's still there. And then the theory of racial formation is really interesting, and I really enjoyed reading some of that from the race and ethnicity chapter. But it's basically about how race and racism has only changed over time. It hasn't gone any better or much worse. It's pretty much the same, just in a different form, with loopholes that were found politically, and racism didn't finish with the Civil War. It just evolved over time. And I took these with me to our house to try to put in the back of my mind to realize that people are subject to their own circumstances, their environments, and all this is based on the system that we have that's against them and against these people in the minority group. A couple of sociological concepts that I also took with me was just the scapegoat and discrimination. And I took discrimination with me because just the stereotyping that people are going to get for being homeless, and not even just racial or ethnicity, but also just being homeless. There's discrimination about them, and this stereotypes that jobs will have just because they don't have a home. And scapegoat, I took that with me too, because a lot of people have the stereotype that people that are homeless because they just don't want to try to get a job. They don't want to try to do anything, but they really are, but they're just subject to the discrimination and stereotyping. And it's very hard for them to get back up on their feet without any help. So some of the knowledge that I ended up gaining from my service learning experience, I actually learned a few different things about different types of homeless shelters, and why our house is actually one of the best homeless shelters that we have in Arkansas. And I'm surprised that we don't have a lot more like our house. One of the best things that I enjoyed was helping someone upload a resume, and it may not seem very big or important, but it really was, because I helped someone not just upload a resume, but this was one step further to helping him become more technological savvy, to be caught in the year 2019, and to help him get a job and get back on the feet as a warehouse worker and making more money than I make at fast food. So, to me, it was a big experience when I finally got to help somebody really make a big step forward. One of the hard things that I had to do was not being able to help or being as informed as I wanted to. There's a lot of things that I wish I knew about between Medicare and Medicaid, and what offers what, and how to suggest what to do in a certain situation. With all this, one lady asked me to fax paper, and I didn't know how to fax the paper because I'm 20 and I've never had to use a fax machine. So I had to give it to Mr. Percy to show me how to fax it, and I wish I had known how to do that. So making a difference, I never really knew the challenges that people had when it came to just getting an email. Because when you sign up for an email, you need a phone number or a second email. And some of these people don't even have a phone. And it keeps them from getting an email, which keeps them from getting a job, to get money, to get a phone. So, and this whole loophole and cycle of almost oppression is really, really interesting to me, and how I saw that. And it was just rewarding that I helped others get jobs and start better lives for themselves. So some suggestions is that the only thing that I would suggest is that our house would become a larger scale. It would become more abundant in Little Rock, and just more accessible to the homeless, and helping them get back on their feet, instead of everybody just being discriminative towards the homeless population. So I just want to say thank you, and for service learning does make a difference, and I made mine, and I hope you do too. And here are my references. All right.